Recognize the Leader of the Official Opposition.
Thank you, Speaker. Thank you, Speaker. I also want to start by wishing everyone a happy Halloween and hope that children have a fun night but a safe one as well. My first question is to the Premier. Under changes that the Premier is making to the Employment Standards Act, people will now lose a day's pay if they miss a day for illness. On top of that, they'll be required to get a sick note, which most doctors charge for. Does the Premier think it's fair for people to pay just to take a sick day?
Labour. Premier. Minister of Labour.
Thank you, Mr. Speaker, and thank the member opposite for the question. For the first time in Ontario, workers are going to be protected with 8 protected paid days of work every year for every worker in the province of Ontario. Mr. Speaker, most businesses work well with their employees. They want to have good employees, and we want them to have good jobs, and we want good employers out there, Mr. Speaker. That's why we're open for business. Mr. Speaker, the province of Ontario, under the leadership of Premier Doug Ford, have said Ontario is open for businesses, so businesses can have the confidence to come, to expand, to provide good-paying jobs in the province of Ontario. And that's the best thing we can do for workers, is that, Mr. Speaker.
Start the clock. Supplementary.
Minister of Labour has conferred with the Premier about 8 paid days off for workers in emergencies. That would be a progressive change for the future that I think workers would welcome. However, doctors in this province are raising some concerns. The head of the Ontario Medical Association says, and I quote, "With prolonged wait times and hallway medicine, we need to find ways to let people stay home to recover from minor illnesses." Why is the Premier ignoring the advice of medical professionals and forcing people to lose a day's pay when they fall ill?
Minister.
Thank you, Mr. Speaker. And I meant to say 8 unpaid protected days.
Order.
So, I'm sorry for that, Mr.
Opposition
Speaker.
benches come to order.
But, Mr. Speaker, we want Ontario to be open for business,
Opposition
Mr.
benches
Speaker.
come to order.
We're providing workers with, for the first time, 3 days of sick leave, 3 days of family responsibility, and 2 bereavement days every year for every worker. This is in line with other provinces in Canada. Mr. Speaker, the employers have the choice if they want to ask for a medical note from a registered health practitioner. Mr. Speaker, most businesses that we deal with and that I know in the province of Ontario, they want to have good relationships with their employees, and this opposition keeps demonizing businesses as bad players. They are...
Stop the clock. Order. Start the clock. Final supplementary.
Well, Speaker, it seems to me that the Minister of Health, or Minister of Labour, just confirmed that her Premier is more interested in helping the bad actor businesses in this province than making sure that workers can take a sick day off of work. You know, in other jurisdictions that have paid sick days for years, Speaker, business owners actually celebrate them. To quote one, a sick server could get 120 people sick. They're touching glasses, silverware. Having people work in a kitchen or wait on you when they're ill does not make sense. In fact, in U.S. cities that have paid sick days, the majority of people use only half of the sick days that they have. Does this Premier have any evidence whatsoever that forcing people to lose a day's pay every time they fall sick is actually good for business or just good for bad businesses?
Minister.
Mr. Speaker, most businesses, again, don't want their workers coming in sick. They're going to work with their employees. Look at this was... The 8 unpaid days are similar to what happens
the opposition
across
come to order.
Canada. The previous
Government House Leader come to order.
Reforms was a disaster for businesses and a disaster for employees if businesses couldn't keep employees employed. Mr. Speaker, open for business is our motto. We're going to attract good-paying jobs, better jobs
Member for Waterloo, come to order.
better programs for employees, better benefits for employees. That's what we want to achieve in the province of Ontario, Mr. Speaker, and that's what we're going to do because Ontario's open for business.